What's up, everybody? Welcome to the All Elite Wrap-Up Show. And let me tell you what a show we got in store for you today, because joining me, as usual, my hot tag partner right over here, this guy.
Live from the No Cell Studios on Thanksgiving Eve, it's the ace of the tavern, Stephen Acefield, and we're so happy to be back. And of course, right below me, like the Brady Bunch, holy shit, it's Nick Storm. Holy shit. Holy shit.
Holy shit. Yeah, just guys, a recap why I was gone. These fugitive kangaroos had me in captivity, blah, 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 all this fun stuff. And here I am. I broke out, and I'm just happy to be back, you know. Happy to be chilling and happy to be talking about wrestling.
To have you back, dude. That's all that matters. Yeah. You're doing well, right?
Yeah, dude. I'm doing
It doesn't matter how you're doing.
Oh my God. Rude awakening.
2 nights in a row. 2 nights in a row. I'm sorry, Nick. I had to see if you were going to.
I have to. It's okay. I'm just.
Anyway, Nick, we do love that you're back. And that's
dude, wow. It is nice to be back, guys. So
before we get started, really quick, guys, let's just tell them where to go. Nick, where are we going to tell them to go? Where is? Oh, we don't even have all the logos here for the tavern. Go to the. Oh, here it is. Go to theturnbuckletavern.com, guys. Follow, like, subscribe to us everywhere you possibly can. Please leave some reviews. Do what you got to do. When you're done with that, click the first link. Subscribe to the Discord. I'm not used to these things not being in the right spot. There's no
wait. Keep this graphic up. Ready? I'm gonna do a little song. Ready? We're on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, Discord, and Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Pro, Wrestling Tees, and Teespring. Oh, shit.
Dude,
trademark, copyright, and I'm going to Chris Jericho that shit completely.
You're going to make like a We Didn't Start the Fire version of every...
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah, guys, join our
Apple
Discord.
Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, and Twitch, TikTok, Discord, and Spotify. Anyway, you
guys,
get the idea.
Go follow us. Join our Discord. Come chat with us. Let's talk about AEW Dynamite All Elite Wrap-Up. What a week it's been. Full Gear's in the past now. We got this awesome episode of Dynamite tonight to kick off. I don't know how to make it not make us go up when I click that. Do you know how to change that, Ace?
Yeah, I'll work on it for you.
Okay, I know there's a button somewhere to do that. I just don't know which one it is.
I gotcha.
I see they've updated a bunch of stuff on the side here, and it's confusing the shit out of me. But yeah, let's somebody slap me and put me on track here.
All right, I got you. So we're going to be talking about Dynamite, and the first thing I want to just chat with you guys, and this is not a news story. Nick, what was your take about not having MJF here on the show? Like, were you disappointed? And what do you think the reason was to not have him here in Chicago live with the title?
Wow, dude, I thought it was a bad move, but like, why would you not have that reaction in Chicago? I feel like MJF, it's like, I'm curious. A lot of other fans are curious. What would MJF's reaction in the crowd of Chicago, what would that be like? Because, you know, CM Punk and MJF, they've had their history and all that fun stuff. So it's like, it just made me curious, if anything. But to have it next week, yeah, it's weird. And Regal, what's happening with him? You know,
he said he's filming the movie. He had to go back to the set. So,
yeah, there's probably some truth to that. And I just thought it was interesting because on the media scrum following Full Gear, he was out there and obviously he was in character, but he had said, you must tune into TBS to see the only champion, the best champion in wrestling. And he wasn't there. And I know they're turning him heel again. And I'm sure they were torn on his reaction. What would it be? And I think he'd get a hero's welcome, but there's no escaping it, whether it be Chicago or wherever they are next week. He's going to get cheered, so they have to figure out if they want to keep him a heel, they have to find a way to keep getting him booed. But if he's going to be a face, you might have to lean into it. So right now, they have to just follow the momentum and ride the wave, because don't resist it. We've seen that before in other companies. When you resist where the momentum's going, things don't go as well. You just have to go where the tea leaves are going. MJF, be like you were, but if you're going to get cheered, I'm here for it. That's okay. But act the way you did at Full Gear.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to continue to be cheered, but I think he's going to go back to being the way he was. I don't think he's going to be acting like the face that he was. He's going to continue acting like the MJF that we love, being mean and shit. So,
bro, imagine that, like, that's your world champion to go sell pay-per-views on like news shows like morning news and all this shit. You know what I mean? Like that's how you sell it. You get MJF appearing and you get him promoting the goddamn hell out of it. So yeah, it's a very, very good move by AEW to just like have him go, just remain his character, because that's what people love, right? You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
that's what they fell in love with. That's
It's crude humor, all this shit. You know what I mean? So people really, really like that.
Next week. It actually builds anticipation for next week already too by not having him come right out tonight. You had that whole little tease to start off the show, which I love, by the way. I love that whole tease. It just makes you wonder where that's going with Danielson and Moxley. I thought, usually they don't start the show in the ring like that. I loved it tonight. I thought that was great. I just when they start the show with a promo like that, it usually works. Old fat guy BMX saying face MJF is so forced, I get bored. That's why I think he's going back to acting like he was, but he's just still going to get cheered. Happy Thanksgiving Eve.
Yeah, I agree with OFG there. I was saying last week that a lot of the mannerisms in the ring of just like playing to the crowd, they were very robotic. And I guess they are leaning into the fact it was part of him playing everybody for a fool at this point, similar to that Buffalo entrance. And he was like, I can't believe you guys fell for it. If he wants to be a face, they have to work on what it looks like. Because if that's what it would be like it was 2 weeks ago, I don't want MJF to change. I want him to be exactly who he is, but get cheered. Regardless of reaction, you just go out there and be him.
I think that's exactly what they're doing now. I think the whole thing with him being the way he acted when he came out like he did at Full Gear, I'm like, oh God, he is so faking it. This is him going back to being a heel. It was kind of obvious to me. I thought it after Dynamite last week. I'm like, the one thing I don't like is that he faked it again. Like he did it in Buffalo and then he did that here again. But now he's going to go back to being like Stone Cold was and Becky Lynch was when she was supposed to be a heel, but the fans loved her. Let him just act like him and just cheer for him. He's got to be true to himself. He's not going to be the guy that's going to come out like, yeah, let's go. That's not him. That's not him. Shit on us. We want to be shit on. We're devil worshippers for a reason. We're worshiping.
We want to be shit on.
No, seriously.
Someone clip that. Clip it.
We know what we're rooting for in him. We know what we're cheering for. That's what we want at this point. We don't want that guy who's going to be the Mick Foley right here in Chicago, Illinois. That's not who he is. That's not who he should try to be. Be true to himself.
Absolutely. So let's go to the first news story with MJF, and it's him outside of the ring. You mentioned the movie set, but he's also getting into a little bit of a social media spat with a UFC star, the baddie Paddy Pimblett. So apparently he's teasing an appearance on the Saturday, December 10th show in Las Vegas. So they had an exchange in the comment section on Instagram this week after Pimblett commented on an MJF interview clip where he talked how dangerous pro wrestling is, saying it's riskier than MMA. I'm not sure if you guys saw that. I shared it on my story earlier today. The exchange continued. They went back at each other. You guys can go check out the exchange. Essentially, MJF is hinting at being, I don't know, challenging him to a sports entertainment style match or being in the ring in UFC. Tom, I'll throw it to you. Do you think MJF is out of his element here? And is this a good exposure thing for AEW to be involved in UFC?
Let me ask you this question. All of a sudden, him being involved in UFC, him like sounds familiar, like another guy who tried.
Oh, here we go. Tinfoil hats on, baby. Let's go.
UFC. Like, I just wonder.
Put that shit tied on, man.
And this is going to be a recurring theme tonight. I mean, he's not going to go to UFC. He's not. No, there's no way he's going to fight in a UFC match.
If anything, Paddy's coming over to AEW, right?
Exactly. There's zero chance MJF is going to be fighting in a true MMA fight. There's zero chance.
Dude, MJF popped me when he was the final exchange, and he said, grammar off because I'm talking shit to this clown while going 100 miles per hour on the Stairmaster. It just popped me because he was misspelling. People were making fun of him because he is a grammar policeman on social media. So when he got it wrong, people were jumping all over it. But Jarrett Gordon will be fighting Pimblett at UFC 282 next month, and MJF teased an appearance of the pay-per-view. So never a bad thing for UFC and AEW to be in the same room together. And this is usually where WWE is playing around. This is usually where WWE is having their guys, their stars at these shows. And for AEW to be on the same playing field, to have them in the crowd, maybe be involved with some situation with Pimblett, whether real or scripted, it's nothing but a good thing to get MJF out into the common fan's knowledge. Because let's be honest, where the casual fan is, it's UFC. We've talked about it time and time again. They're watching UFC. They're not watching professional wrestling right now. You got to get those people back.
Yeah.
And to even think like an icon, right? There's so much money to be made here, if you think about it. You combine two huge fan bases here, you could have a huge event. You know what I mean? So it's just smart all around the board. That's how I see it as well, from a business standpoint, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a huge crossover. I think the UFC fans, like I said, it's easier for them to I guess accept pro wrestling because it's already embedded and you have a lot of crossover stars like the Brock Lesnar is the biggest one to expect. But, you even see some of the mannerisms of a guy like Conor McGregor. He's one of the more popular faces or personalities in UFC history. And it's professional wrestling down to a T. Like that, his whole shtick is professional wrestling. So if you can get them exposed and build interest and pique their interest, and if you bring Pimblet over, I'm not saying he'd be the guy to do it, but MJF potentially could bring those casual fans over. And that's what we've been waiting for. We want a boom period. And the way you have a boom is get casual fans to watch the product. And maybe we're on the precipice of that.
Yeah. I mean, and I think MMA fans would be more adapted to AEW than WWE at this point. It's, it's more of a, I would think it suits them more. You know what I mean? WWE is more family orientated. They do safer stuff. You watch AEW, it's more believable as a sport. Even though, I mean, it's still got its entertainment part of it. It's just, I think it would be more appealing to an MMA fan.
Wait, Tom, do you know Hasbulla? Do you know?
No.
Well, oh my God, Hasbulla needs to be in AEW. I have to show you him after this. So it is amazing. Hasbulla in AEW. I'm rooting for that all the way. I'd pay money to see that. So that could be on the huge lineup with Patty and MJF. Just saying.
Yeah. What do we got next?
Yeah, I mean, if it's like Marina Shafir, like it's got to be a transcendent person. And Pimblet, I'll be honest with you, before all this news dropped, I had no idea who this person was. So it's bringing my eyes to UFC. I potentially would watch December 10th if MJF's involved. So they're getting the wrestling fans to watch UFC. So it's one hand washing the other. So that might be a good thing for UFC as well. Not that they need the casual fan. They're pulling in money hand over fist.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Yeah. Patty's funny as like fuck. He has like compilations on YouTube, like MJF has like funniest moment compilations, kind of like that. You know what I mean? You can just watch them for days. They're really, really, really funny. So yeah, it makes sense to why they're doing this, because they're very, very similar in some aspects.
So the other news story here, Kenny Omega was asked about the AEW all-out fight that we call the brawl-out fight, and the main quote I want you to look at is, and especially with what happened today, and we'll get into that match because I think that was something to tie into this. So the quote by Omega was, "There are things no one can talk about, so I'd encourage people to let it go. It doesn't change that we want a team effort in AEW. I don't even mean implicitly myself and my opponent. It also means the referee, the fans, the people who set up the ring. Everybody, even a technical error, can ruin the memory of a match. I can refer back to exploding barbed wire death match. So I encourage people to move away from it because there's no information to be released. Though I cannot talk about it, I do want fans to know I still want the best for pro wrestling." So that brings us into what happened tonight for that trios match. Match number 2 of a best of 7, which there was some heat on that for a best of 7 series. I love it, man. I'm coming from a sports perspective. I love it. I know we're going to be seeing a lot of the same matches, but if they do what they did tonight, dude, hell yeah. It was sports entertainment. They changed the angle. I didn't expect Death Triangle to win. It was something new. But first, Tom, comment on this Kenny Omega quote, especially knowing the information we know from tonight about everything that went down.
Oh my gosh, it's just setting up a CM Punk return. Like I've said the whole time, this guy's coming back with his company.
Oh man, that sends chills down my spine, man.
Dude, they're just dropping little breadcrumbs now because all of a sudden they're talking about it. And then you go to the match tonight. You got friggin' Kenny Omega biting an arm, where we saw the bite on his arm in Japan. We saw him do a go to sleep. We see a botched buckshot lariat. Like, come on, this is fucking awesome.
And then a GTS. Oh man,
it's leading to an amazing story. It absolutely is, and I'm so here for it. I love the crowd. Was a mostly Punk crowd tonight. We got both sides of the reaction. We heard some CM Punk chants. We saw the Elite get booed. I love it. I'm excited, and if everybody who told me Punk's not coming back can kiss my ass when he's back.
Dude, hold your horses. Come on. He's not back. This is something we need to. Okay, there's a chance he comes back and there's money to be made, but this doesn't prove anything. We're in the same spot we were just a couple weeks ago. I know they're hinting at it, but this is the Bucks and Omega being cheeky. This is their platform. They're going to take shots at Punk when they want to because they won this. They're there. He's not. So they're allowed to take shots if they want.
If he wasn't,
I don't see it.
If
I don't
he
see him
wasn't
come back.
They wouldn't be taking shots. They would just let it go.
I think they would. I think they showed in their personality. They already would do that. We see their Twitter bio all the time that says something cheeky all the time. And the word is cheeky. They go out of their way to blur that line. And I understand why you're saying it. And I am hopeful eventually Punk will come back, but I don't think this gives any more percentage of a chance because they did this. I just think it's the Bucks and Omega being Bucks and Omega.
OFG, what do you think? Tell me if you think he's coming back. And Nick, tell us what you think. They've just started dropping so many hints. Go ahead, Nick. Tell us.
Man, it's I don't know. I think like wrestlers like to really blur kind of like the shoot into a lot of kind of things. Like they like to spice it in here and there. So if it is a shoot, it would make sense from that perspective. But if CM Punk is coming back, maybe they work something out. Like they came to an agreement. Like looked at like the potential of what could be done and made and how grand AEW could get to or rise to. I don't know. Maybe they came to agreement on that, and maybe he is coming back. That would be, I don't know. That would be cheeky, like I said. That's word of the day, cheeky.
Read me the last line of that quote again.
From Omega?
Yeah.
All right, let me put him because I'm by the match. His quote was, the last thing he said, though I cannot talk about it, I do want the fans to know I still want the best for pro wrestling.
There you go. Punk's coming back. He wants the best for pro wrestling. What's best for pro wrestling is turning this into a story, baby. Let's make the money.
The other quote he has, this isn't Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks against CM Punk. It's people trying to show their craft. You can boo Omega or the Young Bucks or CM Punk, but I hope people don't forget we're human beings struggling to show our art. So it's the other quote from Omega. I'm going to double down saying, even if Punk comes back in the coming weeks, this doesn't mean that this is the reason why, or they knew he was coming back. There is still a chance when he's healthy in 5 months or whenever it is, when that injury heals, that he does come back. That doesn't mean that both things can be true. Right now, the Bucks and Omega could be just taking shots at him, pot shots at him, and they eventually can work down the line to have him come back. I don't think he's coming back. I really don't. I can't see them mending the fence. I think it's long gone.
I'll tell you this, it's not a couple of weeks. The guy's hurt for 8 weeks. So if we see him back, it's not going to be till April,
I said 5 months. I said 5 months he'd be back.
Yeah. It won't be for months until he comes back. And this is what OFG said. This is a guy that hasn't talked to his own brother for 20 plus years over 10 grand, put a restraining order on his mom and didn't go to his funeral. I'll tell you what about that, though. He put a restraining order on his mom. At least he wasn't fake and went to the funeral after that to act all sad. Like, I hate when people act like, oh, my parents do this, and they're like all nasty about them, and then they die. They're the ones who feel the worst. And it's like, no, you're the one who didn't care about them when they were here. So stop. So you know what? He's just a dickhead all around. And I'm a fan.
So what makes you think that he'd be able to mend fences with Tony Khan and the Bucks after everything that went down? Because they're making him look like a fool. You think he'd sign up for that after being so insecure about how they booked him and they didn't? Like, this all goes back to him not being able to keep up with the other talent. I truly believe that match with Hangman, he could say it was the promo with Hangman. It was the fact that he couldn't hang with Paige in the ring. And that buckshot lariat they took the shot of during this match was exactly the reason why. That buckshot that he failed twice on, that just showed you he couldn't keep up with these guys. And that's probably festering in his brain. And that's why this whole thing sort of wormholed into this whole big situation. And yeah, the Bucks were wrong. Yeah, Omega was wrong. But Punk took it to a level that was too far. And guess what? The Elite are still here and he's not.
And he will be. He's still here. He's still under contract. You can't say he's not here when he's under contract.
He's not here, though.
He's technically still under contract. He's on the AEW roster as we speak today. So should we say that Hangman Page isn't here because he's not there?
Hangman's hurt, though.
Okay, so is Punk. He had surgery to repair a tricep.
But come on, they're two different things, dude. They're two different things.
Does he have an injury? Yes.
Punk is not out because of the injury. He would still be disappeared. He would not be on TV even if he wasn't hurt.
You don't know that. We don't know that.
I mean, I would say it's quite clear that wouldn't be the case.
We don't know that for a fact. We're just speculating.
Of course. And you know what? Like, at the end of the day, I hope he comes back. I hope they can put their differences aside and have Punk come back because there's money to be made. but he has shown, the history has shown that he has not had the inability to put his own ego aside for the betterment of the business. It's always about CM Punk. He takes his shit and goes home when it's not going his way. And right now, the whole locker room is rallied against him and Pro Elite. Is he willing to be in that locker room? Because all this feelings, work or shoot or whatever they want to fucking call it, most people hate his goddamn guts and they don't want him in that locker room.
You talk to everybody and ask them if they hate his guts?
I don't, but I mean, the dirt sheets don't lie, dude. Like there's every...
The dirt sheets don't lie.
So every single person that's involved that's come out in an interview has said negative things about Punk. That's all work. They all got together in a room together and said, let's all say this to make Punk look bad so they think we're not coming back.
Oh my God, the dirt sheets don't lie. That's the funniest thing you've ever said. They're dirt sheets. All they do is lie.
Oh my God, here we go.
Lie. Like the fucking buyout thing is not true. There's no truth to the buyout.
But when it happens, no one will give Meltzer credit. They'll just say, "Oh, he happened to guess right." That's what it's going to be.
The buyout. There's zero truth.
We'll see, but dude, we'll see what happens. Like, I mean, you're saying it's categorically a fact he's coming back, but then when I say he's not coming back, you said that I'm speculating. It's the same thing. I'm speculating on the other side of you.
Contract. He's still under contract. He's been under contract since.
Well, why would Tony release him? There's no reason to make a move right now. He's hurt.
It's getting heated.
Why keep paying him?
So he doesn't go anywhere else. He can't be. He has to get paid. You might as well keep him exclusive to where you are. Why let him go help somebody else? Why do him the favor and let him go to New Japan Pro Wrestling? Not that they would fucking want him. Like, you think he could wrestle in New Japan right now and work that style? Dude can't work three matches a month without getting hurt.
He worked a whole year without getting hurt. His first injury was his first injury. The one against
the broken foot where he jumped on
onto the ring. So, like, to say he's injury prone when he's only had the 2 injuries is kind of unfair to him. And yeah, so let's point out a little story. I'm going to point out a little story right now. Okay, when Malachi, we thought he was leaving and he negotiated a deal to leave or whatever. They pulled Malachi off of the roster page, right? When they weren't sure what he was going to do. CM Punk is still on the roster page. They've never removed him.
They pulled MJF off the roster page in his merch too.
That was
Did you buy that
visual
too?
Storyteller.
I know, but how can you differentiate the two? You're using that as a fact. They pulled MJF
they were
off
trying to make it look like they were trying to make it look like MJF was gone. They're not trying to make it look like CM Punk is gone. Only the dirt sheets are trying to do that, and people who hate him.
That's not the case at all, dude.
It's 100% the case.
You think there's a conspiracy against CM Punk in the locker room in AEW right now? Or the fans that we all want CM Punk, all his transgressions are out there for people to see how he acted. Nobody wants that shit. It's toxic. That's not a work, dude. Like, I wish it was. I wish we can make a story out of it. But
say it again. Nick, have you heard me say this? CM Punk gets hurt during that match at All Out. Tony Khan's like, shit, we can't do another interim champion. CM Punk turns to Tony Khan and says, don't worry, I got this. He goes and he drops that fucking awesome scrum. It sets up everything for him to be suspended. It sets up this awesome storyline. It's a beautiful thing. Nick,
all I'll say is that I wouldn't be surprised if it all came out to be a work.
Thank you.
Because honestly, everything that's happening around it just fits so perfectly. Like, but then again, is it shoot? Is it work? Who really, really knows?
And the fact that we're still talking about it, they're doing something right.
Yeah, and they're bringing it up in matches, like and they're bringing it up in BTE even. Like they had the fuck CM Punk chance. They had that in the newest BTE that came out.
When the Elite are out, they have to bring it up. Didn't have to bring it up because people are talking on the side. They have to bring it up.
So I spoke to the great Mike Belcaster today. And he saw the Kenny Omega interview, and he told me, as a matter of fact, hold on, I'll read his text, okay? Where's Mike Belcaster's text to me just a little while ago? Hold on, come on, keep loading up.
I hope it's a work too, man. I'm Team Nick Storm, yeah.
Everybody's Team Nick Storm.
Yeah, I don't know. My parents aren't. I'm just kidding. That's kayfabe. That's.
Where is it? Okay, this is quote from Mike Belcaster. That Kenny interview that went out today makes me No, it's a work.
Okay. Wow. Well, Mike Belcaster doesn't lie. He's never lied to me once. And if he's
I
lying
love
now,
Mike Belcaster.
I will
but
sell
he's
my
looking through
my
rose-colored
house
glasses,
if he's lying
dude.
right now.
He's looking through rose-colored glasses. He wants Punk to be back in any capacity. Like, so his opinion right now, you have
they
to
are
put it to the
both from
side.
Chi-Town, right? So
He'll be back.
Yeah, that's
He'll
his
be
boy. Of course he wants him back.
CM Punk will be
All
back.
right.
I want Colt Cabana back. And he is, yeah.
But Tom, even if he does come back, that's what I want to make it clear. If he does come back, which I hope he does, it doesn't mean this whole thing was a work.
I think
there is a world where they work through their differences and he comes back with his tail between his legs and they work it out. Which they should.
I honestly think it's 50% shoot, 50% work. I think there's definitely shoot to it. I think there really is. I think what CM Punk, like, I'm not crazy. Like, I think there was definitely truth to what he said. I think there was definitely him shooting, but I think they shoot to use it as a story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the best storylines
guys
are coming from real life, but if people and you believe, if you're saying you thought that Tony Khan and CM Punk on a whim after Punk got hurt came up with the scrum as a work, dude, that is the most far-fetched thing I've ever heard in my life.
It's not. You can't go put your champion out for another interim after he just came back 3 weeks earlier.
The reputation of Tony Khan, the reputation of the company in a TV negotiation period, all put at risk just for what? So Punk, for what reason?
Well, how about this? CM Punk during that scrum is talking, and this is Nick Khan, Tony Khan right next to him. I should have stopped that. I should have said something back then. He stuck up for him during the scrum. Nobody points that out. He was on Punk's side.
It's weak leadership. Like, they're two different things. You think Tony Khan's acting like that's his character on screen? He wants to act like a minuscule leader. Like he just doesn't know how to act in that situation. I feel bad for him, but hopefully he learned from that situation. And the other thing is, the situation did happen. If you said it was a work, we still had an interim champion. Like, we still had Moxley as an interim champion.
No, but I'm talking about
like what. But it never changed. Like, if the whole reason that they would work the scrum is to not have an interim champion, we had Moxley as an interim champion.
Right, but I'm saying another interim champion when he got hurt that night. There would have had to been another one, and that's what they were avoiding.
But the title had to be vacated anyway because Punk was champion.
Right,
like,
vacated the interim.
Logistics, tomato, it doesn't matter. The title had to leave the guy.
Right, it makes perfect sense to not say, "Oh, we're just taking it off of him." He's suspended.
Something that catastrophic to throw a pipe, like literally the word pipe bomb, onto your whole company, done on a whim, just when you found out Punk was hurt after the match. The amount of time that had to pass that they had to make that decision, that is insanity. That you think that's a correct. But I do respect the zest on you right now.
The fact that everybody's talked about this for months and it's been a #1 wrestling story at a time after Vince McMahon retired. Like, it's genius.
But it paints AEW in a bad light. Going back to the original conversation, it paints AEW looking like shit. The company looks poorly run. It looks like the inmates are running the asylum. They have no control of the people there, and the morale in the locker room's down.
I'll say this:
they're in the news,
talking about how high the morale is and how great
since Punk's gone. Since Punk's gone,
Punk was only there for 3 weeks before he got hurt again. He was gone for months. He was hurt.
And the locker room's great. The locker room was like shit when he was there. And now it's great again because he's not. What's the constant?
How bad it was for months before All Out, and all I know, he was only there for 3 weeks before All Out.
Punk's a locker room cancer. I don't have to tell you. Like that.
I'm telling lies. He was only there for 3 weeks before All Out, leading up to the match at All Out.
Guys, is this a work? Is this a shoot? Speaking of shoot, I got to shoot off. But guys, it was fun chatting with you guys. I really want to come back full time to this. Tune in to next week Fig Night and next week Wrap Up to see my
We're not done.
stupid
Just Nick's
face.
Farmer's done, guys, so don't go away.
Yeah, I'm done, but no, not done. But I got to jet off. You know what I actually have to do? I've got a trip to go to the Bahamas in my plane. My private jet is actually going to leave in an hour, so I actually have to head off. So I have to pack and all that stuff. So if you can excuse me, right? But yeah, no, it was really, really fun hanging here. Miss you guys in the chat. Love you, Ace and Tom. Holy fuck, this has been hilarious. All right, see you later. Bye bye. Anyone too sweet me?
All right. So this is what I'm going to say though. I'll be honest. Like for weeks and weeks, I've been saying this, and I've kind of just been saying it like stretching what I really believe. But after what's come out today and Omega's interview, I believe more in what I was saying.
That's fair.
Okay.
you can believe what you want. But let's go with Booker T's story about he was asked about the fuck CM Punk chance at Full Gear. And his quote was interesting because he didn't really answer. It was more of a non-answer than anything. He said, I think you got a show. It's got to be focused on everything that's going on and everybody on that show in order to make it successful. When you get to a point where there's only one person being thought about, it can be a problem. Those fans didn't start chanting that CM Punk chant for no reason when the Bucks came out. It was like they were picking sides as far as, this is what we want. We want wrestling. We don't want drama. Interesting to hear Booker T, and the ramifications of this continue to be all over the place. It was a non-answer on my point, on my perspective.
Yeah, dude, like who doesn't want drama? It makes wrestling better when there's drama.
I agree with you. I mean,
Yeah,
Booker T, but Booker T worked in WCW, dude. He knows when it's bad.
Let's just say this: Booker T is such a moron that he doesn't even deserve a mic in front of him. He's terrible. He's fucking terrible on the mic. I don't enjoy anything he does on the mic. Just stop. I don't care about your opinion.
Well, I do respect Booker T as far as in-ring competitor. I don't listen to really any of his podcasts. I mean, I only see his quotes pop up here and there, so I can't speak to any of that. But it is an interesting thought because we know that he had some negative things to say about Punk when Punk exited the company. He did say that he was whatever the word he used, but Punk it was in a negative connotation. What was that?
Punk hasn't exited any company.
WWE.
Oh, okay. He said it back then. You mean years ago?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Back in 2014 when he got his release on his wedding date, all that stuff.
I'll say this though, I do believe this, and don't be confused with what I'm saying. I do think CM Punk is a total asshole douchebag. I'm not saying that I don't think that about CM Punk. So.
No, I just think you want it to be a work or whatever, and this is similar to your Cody Rhodes stuff. How's that working out for you right now?
He's still going back to AEW and his contract's up here. And Tony
but do you think it was a work that Tony Khan and Cody got together?
Yes, of course.
Oh.
Of course. I mean, I don't know if it's a work as much as Cody saying, I'm going to leave for a bit and go do my own thing. And Tony's like, all right, go do your thing. And you can come back whenever you're ready. I don't know if that's really called a work or that's just them two having a conversation.
I mean, you tapered it down a bit from where it was. So I do understand. I mean, there is probably a conversation that maybe he wants to end his career at AEW, but all right. Speaking of someone that will end his career in AEW, hopefully, is Chris Jericho. He applied for yet another copyright with the Patent and Trademark Office, the USPTO, for the word Christery. So this will be for hats, shirts, bandanas, shirts, short sleeve shirts, sweatshirts, hooded sweatshirts. Also, entertainment services, continuing video programs. This is the official thing from the United States Patent and Trademark Office. So we saw him use the Ocho, was like months before he actually used the Ocho and before he won the ROH championship. We have Christery. Do you have any inkling about potentially what they would use Christery for? Obviously making history, like the play on words is Christery, as you guys can see the scroll coming.
Something just dawned on me.
What's that?
As you were saying this, I know you mentioned this to me before. Can this, obviously, I think it's going to mean something with the history of Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho's history. Is his run coming to an end? Is that what this is going to be used for? Is he getting ready to hang up the boots? Something to make you think about when you think about his history and the term. I don't know if it is. I'm just, just speculating and guessing. I hope it's not, because the guy's still contributing on a large level here. Like, the guy's still entertaining. The guy could still go as good as he ever has. Like luckily for him, he had that health scare, put him into the best shape he's been in for years, and he's wrestling like he's 15 years younger again. Like, for a while when he had that extra weight on him, he was doing, he was wrestling a little different. He was covering what he couldn't do. He lost the weight and he's moving like the Jericho of old. It's amazing.
Oh yeah. So, yeah, he looks great.
He does.
And I don't want him to retire anytime soon, but eventually, like you said, it has to come to a point where he can't be in ring and active, and similar to like some, athletes out there, like football players, baseball players, you want to get ahead of it. I think of David Ortiz when he retired at his best season. Yeah. You don't want it to get to a point where people are forcing you out. So
Mariano Rivera is a rarity as closers, like never last as long as he did. And he was as good in his last season as he was in his first season.
In a lot of ways, David Ortiz was his best season was that DH season that he hit 40 plus home runs, and he probably could have got he could continue to get a good contract because they're waiting for guys to hit home runs. He probably could have hit home runs for 3-4 years, but people remember him in a lot of ways in a better way because he retired, you know, without losing all the gas. Tying
Tyson,
this back to wrestling, Chris Jericho should be more of the same.
look at what Tyson's saying here, because we know Jericho is a big Kiss fan.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there's something to be said about that. That's a great point.
Yeah, very good point, Tyson. Nice catch on that one. So it's probably something. It's probably gonna be a shirt. If we're being honest, we'll probably have all the.
Is History the history of Kiss?
I'm sure it's like an album. So I'm not a Kiss guy, so I'm sure it has something to do with their legacy in rock and roll.
Because we can look it up real quick.
All right. So while you're looking that up, I'm going to drop some more news here that doesn't really need to be discussed. It's just about the Great Muta match. We heard that Sting would be involved in it. Pro Wrestling Noah announced that Muta, Sting, and now Darby Allin will team up on Sunday, January 22nd at the Great Muta Final Bye-Bye show from the Yokohama Arena in Yokohama, Japan. The event, as we know, will stream on Fight. So we don't have the opponents for Muta, Sting, and Allin yet. So this will be his last bout as the Great Muta. They are trying to make it special, and obviously AEW and Tony Khan have been progressive in the way they look at wrestling and letting people do their things and let people have their way of working. And now we see Triple H getting involved in that, with Shinsuke Nakamura is getting the opportunity to work with Great Muta at Pro Wrestling Noah at the New Year event Sunday, January 1st from the Budokan Hall in Tokyo. Huge honor for Darby Allin, and kind of resonated on me when I was reading his Instagram post, because if you go back to Darby Allin's career on the indies, where he was sleeping in his car, he had no home, he had no money, and only a few short years later, here he's going to be in this huge match, February 21st at the Tokyo Dome, to retire the Great Muta. That wrestling story has to be one of the more unique in the history of wrestling, and I feel so happy for Darby Allin. He's earned every bit of it.
Yeah. So History is actually, listen to this, a biography on Kiss. So are we getting
okay? So maybe we're gonna get like a Chris Jericho biography. I mean, there's plenty of books on him.
Did Tyson just help us unlock that? I think you might be onto something, Tyson.
100%. I think there's merch to be had with Chris Jericho. That's always first and foremost on his mind. How do I sell merchandise and how to make money off this? But yeah, it's just something to watch out. Like, that's something that pops on our radar when you have some of these patent offices get alarmed here. The Bucks did the Wayward Sons thing. They were going to go by the term Wayward Sons, but now they're using the theme song, so it hinted at it. It always gives you a little link into what's going to be happening down the line. So very interesting by Chris Jericho.
Oh yeah, there's also a documentary series on it there on A&E about history. I don't know if it's aired yet, but it's on aetv.com, Tyson. So it's 1 season, 2 episodes, or so it's 2 episodes of history. So, hey, listen, if they're doing something like that, I hope they work with WWE and they share the footage to get, you know, his WCW stuff, his WWE stuff. I want it to be done right if they're going to do it.
Well, that'd be very interesting. That'd be a huge test for Triple H and how he views things and how he wants to play nice in the sandbox with AEW. I mean, Chris Jericho, I don't know. Maybe they do an exchange. They let Chris Jericho go in the WWE Hall of Fame for exchange of the footage.
And you know what? Jericho and Triple H supposed to be friends, right? There were pictures of them.
They're definitely friendlier now than they were back in the day, for sure. They used to not like each other, but
they used to hate each other. But now they get along and respect each other. I've seen pictures of them together since Chris has been in AEW on social media. So, you know, I hopefully listen. They let Chris come on Stone Cold's Broken Skulls session. So,
you know. Well, I mean, a good look into Triple H's mindset about all this stuff with guys retiring and honoring the past. Look at Great Muta. I mean, Chris Jericho is on that level where eventually when Chris Jericho wants to do his farewell tour, he should be able to be granted the same sort of permissions. If he wants to work with someone from WWE, he should have the opportunity. And I think that should blur the lines of, yeah, you work for AEW. Yeah, that person works for WWE, but let's make it happen because you deserve it for what you gave to the business. And this will be a huge test for Triple H going forward because he's going to have opportunities to right different wrongs that Vince McMahon had in the past where he wouldn't allow this to happen. He would have stunted this before it even got started. He's off to the right step with a guy like Shinsuke Nakamura getting the opportunity to work Great Muta. That is just enormous for future guys to be able to work, and just for the morale in the locker room for a guy like Shinsuke to be allowed to do something like that. It just shows that the mindset's completely different from Triple H. So booking or not, people can rip on the booking. at least Triple H has an understanding about the history of wrestling. Just didn't happen this WWE bubble. It happened elsewhere as well.
And also, WWE kind of owes AEW because AEW let Jericho come and do Broken Skull sessions. They had Bryan Danielson and Big Show on the John Cena tribute episode. Like, you know, what's that old saying? You rub my back, I'll rub yours. You got to work
Scratch
together.
usually. It's usually a scratch, but rubbing can happen too.
Back, you know, sometimes rubbing feels a little better than scratching. You have a burn or something. I don't know. But no, seriously, like you owe them back. You haven't really done anything for them, and you've gotten a couple favors from them. So it would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking forward to the future and opportunities for Triple H to do different things. And he's shown that he has a more global understanding of the importance of guys like the Great Muta. Vince McMahon has shown in the past, and I don't want to speak for him because obviously he could speak for himself, but just his actions has shown that he would just look at a guy like Great Muta and say, well, he never worked for us. He doesn't have the same impact as a guy that, but at the same time, Triple H is understanding the impact that Great Muta had on a completely different market, but you know, just had the guy's a legend. Like he's on the same level as all the greats that we talk about here in the United States. He was that for Japan.
But also, Vince is all like this to defend Vince a little bit. He put Jushin Thunder Liger into the Hall of Fame. He never worked for WWE. Did he have one match for them on NXT?
Yeah, he wrestled Tyler Breeze once. Yeah,
they put some other people into the Hall of Fame that never worked for them. So he did. Vince did respect some people, but I think Triple H brings that respect to a whole new level. So
yeah, I think Triple H brings it to a new level, like you said. I think that's perfect the way you said it, because if you look at it this way, Vince allowed, well, Triple H was the one booking NXT, but he allowed just Jushin Liger to go to WWE. But in the same breath, would he have allowed somebody from NXT go to New Japan to wrestle Jushin Liger? The answer categorically from Vince McMahon would be no.
Right, I agree with that.
Triple H would allow that.
Yeah,
that's a huge difference, because I think Vince didn't want money to come out of his pocket. And I think we talked about this on Shad Nostalgia. He has this mindset, like PTSD of the Monday Night Wars, where everybody was gunning for him. 95, 96, there was a real chance WWF would have went out of business. And people forget that. We look at them as this global entity that is just this powerhouse monopoly on the wrestling business prior to AEW cropping up as a second option. He has this different mindset where everybody's gunning for him, and he can't allow anyone to gain an inch because he knows how quickly that it can dissipate, and you can wind up finding sliding. Like 95, 96, WWF was in really rough shape, and to the point where they couldn't even pay Bret Hart the money he needed to stay. Like they didn't have the money to pay Bret Hart. That's insane to even think about.
I mean, Bret Hart's contract was like a 10 or 20-year contract at that point, and they had to let him out of it.
Yes, they signed the deal. He was a free agent 96, signed the deal, and then 4 or 5 weeks later, they told him they can't honor the deal.
Yeah.
So crazy. And that's what, led to the screw job and all that stuff. But the last news story before we get into some of the best parts of Dynamite, on November 18th, AEW filed to trademark the term AEW Together for merchandise purposes. And the description on the site said, AEW Together trademark registration is intended to cover the categories of bandanas, beanies, hats, shirts, sweatshirts, t-shirts. So this may be response to some of the chaotic stuff going on in the locker room, that they want to do like a campaign, AEW Together, or maybe it's just something a slogan for a commercial, like AEW Together, the fans together. I don't know. That's what I read it as.
Yeah, I mean, then now together forever, whatever. But in all seriousness, how cool would it be if that's what they're doing? And then eventually the storyline is this Punk comes in to disturb
that. Full circle in the news section.
And let's quickly, since we just had that whole Jericho thing going on, I've never really watched New Japan, but are all their matches just people chopping each other back and forth?
No, not all of them. There is a significant amount of stiff work, not just chops, punches, forearms, kicks. They all land a little bit more snugly than we're used to in the United States. But
I'm just so tired of seeing these guys come in and these chop fests going on. It happens with Eddie Kingston. We see it so much. Why is it? It happened when they brought in the other guy with Moxley. I can't even think of his name right now. What was the guy's name?
Shoot. Who worked Moxley?
I watched him right in front of me. He was good too. The guy that has a figure coming out from Storm Collectibles.
Storm Collectible figures. Let me think about it.
You know who I'm talking about. It was like the big deal. He showed up at the pay-per-view after Mox's match. The hell was his name? Somebody.
Oh, Minoru Suzuki.
Yeah, Suzuki. Yeah, like he
Murder Grandpa.
all I do is see his chops. Like, why is it so chop heavy every time there's a New Japan guy there? Like, especially the older guys, not the younger guys.
It's a good question. I wouldn't just categorically say they all do chops, but yeah, I mean, I would agree with you. Like that was the spot in the match, but it just happened to be guys in the match. Ishii, Minoru Suzuki are guys that use chops a lot. They're from the same vein as a guy like Bryan Danielson, where it's just when you get that chest crop up super red and make it look like chop meat, people react. And I think that blurs that language barrier that a lot of these guys have. They want to make their shit look stiff as possible so they get a reaction. That's why the main event, and we'll talk about it in a little bit, which it resonated so huge because Ishii went out there. He looked the best anyone's looked against Chris Jericho since he's become ROH champion, and legitimately thought he could take the title from him, which was awesome.
I was just seeing all those chops ruin the match for me. I thought it was terrible. Like, I'm so tired of seeing.
You thought the match was terrible, really?
I just don't want to see these chops anymore. Every time there's a New Japan guy, an older New Japan guy coming in, it just doesn't make sense to me.
What would you rather them do? Do like forearms, or I'm just trying to pick your brain?
Just change it up some way. You could do forearms. Like you could do like Eddie Kingston on the pre-show, Chop Fest. Eddie Kingston on our last pre-show, Chop Fest. Moxley and Suzuki, Chop Fest. Like change it up. Oh, I wouldn't watch New Japan if that's all it was.
It's I mean, maybe it is because I honestly didn't notice it was too many chops. Like I knew they were doing the spots with the chops.
Yeah.
But you could say the same thing about Bryan Danielson matches where he does that a lot too. The kicking and
yeah, but that's Danielson, that's his stick. There's just different people that come over and do the same thing. If it was one guy, say it was just Suzuki, he did it. I'd be okay, cool, that's Suzuki's thing. But there's more people than just Suzuki who do it.
Yeah, no, and I'm not disagreeing with you because I'm trying to see it through your eyes because it's something you're not used to watching. It may be something that, yeah, it might be just something that they all do for some reason when they come over here. But when I watch New Japan matches, it's not something, yeah, it's not something that I notice that's excessive. Maybe it's going to be like, now I can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Maybe every time I watch New Japan, you just ruined it for me. But no, I mean, I thought the Ishii match with Jericho was excellent, and I thought the storytelling was great. For a guy that's a relative unknown to the American audience, he's been in AEW for a few hits, and he was on Impact for a bit. The Chicago audience is smart. They're probably the best crowd if we want to rank the crowds as far as wrestling audiences go.
Even came out when Suzuki made his debut in AEW.
Yeah, so they reacted strong to Ishii when he came out. I really enjoyed the match, and maybe I'm just a fan of Stone Pitbull. I thought he can bring a lot to a roster, and I don't know if there's a spot for him in AEW for full time because they're so loaded, but I would love to see him have a run at the top of an Impact card or even NWA because he's a guy that could be a main event guy. No matter his size, he can keep up with anyone, and he turned the crowd around where people thought he had no chance, that there was going to be one of those one-sided matches where they didn't want to react strongly, but everybody was on the edge of their seats by the end of that match where there's a couple near falls, man, and even got me. Like, you knew Jericho was winning. Ishii's not going into final battle as the ROH champion, but got me for a second. I was like, that's how you know they're doing something good.
AEW does that, though. Like, I remember the triple threat match. I think it was at All Out last year when Omega fought Orange Cassidy and Pac.
Oh, yeah. That
wasn't All Out. That wasn't All Out. I don't remember.
It was Revolution, I think.
Revolution, maybe, yeah. I went in thinking, oh my God, Kenny Omega's winning this. And then like halfway through the match, I'm thinking, oh my God, is this something actually going to happen? So like hats off to AEW for them during the match, getting you to believe something other than what you thought was going to happen is going to happen. And then in the end, when what you thought was going to happen happens, you're kind of disappointed. It's like brilliant storytelling.
Speaking about being disappointed, I want to bring up this match too, because I was sort of surprised with how they finished it. The writing was on the wall for Ethan Page to go through the Eliminator tournament and come out victorious. I think, and I'll let you speak to it, and then we'll get to my opinion on it. The ending shocked me, and I'll tell you why in a second, but just give me your thoughts on it, because you were huge on Ethan Page. I think you said he was a top 5 wrestler in your favorite wrestlers last week or 2 weeks ago. Just speak to it, how you were feeling. Are you disappointed that Ricky Starks got the win here?
I am not disappointed at all. And I'll tell you why, because I am a huge Ethan Page fan, and he went from doing relatively nothing and putting people over to this huge push. And I didn't want to see him winning this tournament just to be fed to the champion. And once MJF won the title and he went back to heel, I knew Ricky Starks was going to be the injured face, getting through the match, winning the tournament. And he will be the guy that'll put on an awesome match with MJF when he gets to fight him. You know MJF is going to go over. And believe it or not, it kind of protects to Page to hopefully they keep building him. Maybe he gets involved with the All Atlantic title. Maybe he gets involved with the TNT title. Maybe, there's so many, like, let's just keep building the guy before we throw him into a title match just to feed him to a champion. I like the guy so much. I think he has so much to offer. So, like, it kind of became predictable to me once we saw MJF win and go back to his heelish ways. My question is where do the firm and MJF stand? Are they still working together? Was that all an act? Like, is that even going to be addressed? I hope they don't drop the ball and not address that.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is similar to how they were utilizing the Shield with CM Punk in the beginning, where like Punk hired the Shield to keep the title on him. And then they separated quickly when they noticed how over the Shield got. I'm not saying the firm is that level of over yet, but I think in its own world, the firm can exist and get themselves over and put guys over, like as Ethan Page as the guy in the group. MJF can float in and out using their services. But I think what they should do to really separate MJF from the firm is have the firm do the bidding of other heels in the company to make it clear that it's not just an MJF thing. It's going to be all the different heels buying their services, similar to the APA, but in a heel fashion.
I mean, that makes sense. And here's my other thing. What is going on? They signed W. Morrissey, right? He hasn't even wrestled since they signed him, has he?
That's a really good question.
I'm going to check the roster page right now to see if he has a record other than the one match he came in when he wasn't even under.
Maybe on Dark and Elevation. On Dynamite, you're absolutely right.
Exactly what I was. Oh, wait a minute. W. Morrissey, like, he's not even listed on the roster page. How is this possible? They listed him as all elite, right? Let me search M-O-R. I'm spelling it. M-O-R.
So while you're looking that up, I'm just going to give my opinion.
He's not listed on the roster page. How weird is that?
That is interesting.
I don't get that at all.
But when you click him, it goes to CM Punk, and then Cult of Personality plays.
But yeah, I can't believe he's not on the roster page. That doesn't make any sense to me. Because I was just thinking the other day, why doesn't this guy wrestle? Like, what they bring him in for? Just to do some run-ins and shit? Like, he's got
the Diesel 1995, 1994 Shawn Michaels heater type of stuff going on, but
it works for him if he was just like one person's bodyguard.
Yeah, agreed. So my opinion about the Ricky Starks thing, I was super excited to see him go over, and I agree 100% with what you said that the scope changed. I think if MJF was going to be a face going into Winter's Coming, clearly Ethan Page is going to be served up on a platter for him, but it is an unenviable task for anyone getting involved in this program and MJF fresh off that win at Full Gear. So the person's losing. Ricky Starks has no chance of taking the title of MJF, and nor should he, because right now we want MJF to be on a long run. That being said, I think it's going to be really important. And the ball's sort of in Ricky Starks' court right now for him to show himself to be in that position. We've been clamoring for it. He's been clamoring for it. He had that awesome promo after that Powerhouse Hobbs breakup where he went out there and talked about the ties and news promo, and he talked about wanting a push and being pushed to the side. This is the same guy that got the attention of everybody in AEW when he had that open challenge match against Cody Rhodes, to the point where he was, to use a quote from somebody else, went from undesirable to undeniable. Ricky Starks has shown he is charismatic. He has the ability on the mic. He's a handsome dude. He can move around the ring. He could be a future world champion. The time is not right now, but consider this a tryout for him, for everybody watching, whether it be AEW, WWE. If you want this guy at the top of your card, he needs to go out there and show out in a losing effort. Get yourself over in a losing effort. And of course, they need the time. If they give him 10 to 15 minutes, he'll have the opportunity, of course. But if it's shenanigans, then, we'll write it off. But I think we're going to expect a pay-per-view quality match. Winter is coming. This will be the third edition of it from Texas. This has become one of my favorite events of the year. Obviously, we can cap it with the Sting debut. You can talk about Omega winning the championship at Winter's Coming. There's a lot of memorable shit that happens at Winter's Coming. I even looked that they had the banner hanging. They're treating it like a pay-per-view. So that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Winter's Coming.
Yeah, I'm here for that. Let's talk a little bit about what happened with Jamie Hayter tonight. Renee Paquette comes out. She makes the announcement that Thunder Rosa has been stripped of the title, and Jamie Hayter is now the official AEW Women's Champion, which is well deserved. And then they also mention, within a sentence, the announcers say, "Oh, this makes Toni Storm's run as interim champion official." Like, they kind of would have pissed on her run as interim champion if it just didn't count because, like, I understand she wasn't the women's champion, but there has to be an asterisk in there that would have noted she was interim champion while the champion was out. I thought that kind of pissed all over Toni Storm's run by saying that. Like, now it matters. It made it sound like it didn't matter while it was happening, but it matters now. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, not even just that. I think the whole run that Toni Storm had was a footnote in the women's division. They didn't treat her as a main event women's competitor while she was champ. She was the subplot for a lot of main points, like a Britt Baker program. Even Jade Cargill was put to the top of the card, even though she wasn't the world champion.
Yeah.
So yeah, she was the world champion, but didn't get treated as such. So this doesn't surprise me that they said such a thing. Like I didn't catch it on the show.
Yeah, they said it. They pointed that out, which I thought was insulting. But let's talk about this real quick. After they made the announcement, Thunder Rosa tweeted this out. Thank you, Thunder Army, for all the support and at AEW for being there for me. Dream-like moments happened in this run, but this is not how I wanted to lose the championship, but you deserve a present champion. On to the next chapter. I find this tweet very interesting, and to me, it sounds like the next chapter is not with AEW. What do you get from reading this quote?
Yeah, you brought this up to me during when we were getting ready for the show and said you want to show the tweet. I didn't take it like she was leaving, but now when you read it out loud, I can read it how you read it. I read it as just a disappointment end to her championship run. She feels like she let people down, that she didn't carry the ball over the finish line like she probably could have. Yeah, it was a disappointing run, so that's how I took it. But if she goes somewhere else, I mean, I don't know what other place she could go where she'd shine. AEW is the perfect spot for her. I mean, she could go back to NWA. I don't think there's so many big fish in that WWE pond. I don't think she can keep up. I mean, I love Thunder, but a lot of personalities, a lot of moving parts at the top of that card.
I mean, yeah, I don't know where she goes. I don't know if she's done. Like, we're just trying to read between the lines with that tweet. And there was rumors she was going to be done anyway when she first got hurt. Rumors were she was trouble backstage, and there was heat with her amongst a lot of people. So if this is them just trying to clear out, I don't know what this is. I wonder. Like, I haven't seen if any other sites have broken any news on this tonight. It's going to be interesting to see where this went because Thunder Rosa was one of the biggest women's matches ever, and not only in All Elite Wrestling, but ever in all women's wrestling. That lights out match on a St. Patrick's Day Massacre, like that match will be remembered forever. That was like the first women's match where we were like, holy shit, a hardcore women's match on national TV. Like, so if she's done with this company, I'm kind of shocked. She had a good run, but the thing is, like, they kind of ruined her run by trying to make her cut promos when promos were not really her thing. The top of the ramp stuff when it was terrible. Like, I felt bad for her. She looked so lost out there. And I know, AEW wants people to cut their own promos, but a la Kurt Angle, sometimes you need something written out for you. And Kurt Angle had his scripts written out for him, and look how great he did them. So not everybody needs to cut their own promo. Help somebody out. Like, if you're great in the ring, and she's good in the ring, she's great in the ring.
Definitely.
It just feels like that might have been the thing that led to her demise in AEW, if this is the end for her.
It's very similar to how they sort of dropped the ball with a few guys. One comes to mind, would be FTR. The other would be Wardlow. They know how to get the person to the promised land, have that culminating moment where they win the championship or get crowned as this, whatever. They overcame something at the end of the line. What they have an inability to do, and they have yet to show us this, is to keep the heat on to get them to the next level. Yes, Wardlow won the TNT championship after turning on MJF. Yes, he got that crowning moment on Dynamite. Then he got put on ice for 4 months, and the momentum's gone. FTR, the most overact in all of wrestling, was put on ice for whatever reason, not sure why. And you can use conspiracy theories to talk about it, about the Young Bucks stuff, and there might be some truth to it, but Nevertheless, AEW, whoever's making decisions in the back, whether it be Tony Khan or other people whispering in his ear, they have the inability to finish storylines off to get those guys over the hump. Look at the Wardlow storyline again, going back to it. The Triple H and Batista angle back in 2005 when he turned on him from Evolution and they had the culmination at WrestleMania 2021. That would be like him winning the championship and going off TV, working with minor characters at Backlash, at Judgment Day for the rest of the summer, and then finally picking it up where he just loses the championship to somebody else, where he's not premiered and he's not showcased in a positive way. Dave Batista kept the momentum because he was showcased in a positive way. Wardlow could have been that. I truly believe that he was a world champion waiting for them in the spring. Wardlow could be the guy who takes the title off of MJF. That could be the guy. And yes, they could still get him there, but how amazing would it be if he was still piping hot and it kept going up? Yeah. Now he's like, where is Wardlow? You know what I mean? Like he just lost the title. Where is he?
I don't know if it's a coincidence that he lost his title. They kept it clean because he wasn't the one who got pinned. He's the one who actually defeated Hobbs by doing all the power bombs. When Smo Joe comes in and gets the pin, to me, it's kind of, I don't know if it's too soon, but it kind of seems like they're setting up another run for MJF and Wardlow.
Maybe I would love that. That'd be amazing.
The main event of Revolution.
That would be amazing, but I think you wait to hold it off until Wardlow
is ready
to win. Yeah, I think Wardlow should have his moment.
You know what? Maybe MJF gets to win back here, and then there's a rubber match down the road where Wardlow picks up the title. I don't know. Because who else is there right now? There's a lot of people. I mean, Mox is obviously still there, so I'm sure he's going to want revenge on MJF.
And a program with Danielson would be interesting as well. The two styles that they have yet to meet in the ring. I think aside from being entertained, I think MJF can learn a lot from being in the ring with a guy like Danielson while you have him active in AEW to work a main event level feud. And Danielson, as we've seen, doesn't have to take the title off someone. He had a program with Hangman, he had a program with Omega. He didn't take the title off them, and also had a program with Moxley. Didn't take the title off him. So Danielson's willing to put guys over. Obviously, that goes without being said. But I think Wardlow, that would be the program to kind of maybe 6-7 months from now, if you're willing to take the title off MJF. I'm not sure if they have a long run in the plans, but have Wardlow get a crowning moment against MJF. But then keep the momentum going. Don't just bury him in the rest of the card. It's baffling how they can't keep the heat on guys.
A little, you mentioned Danielson. A little bit of news you didn't have there. I read the other day that Danielson came out and announced when his contract's up with AEW, he's done as a full-time wrestler. He said he'll continue to wrestle part-time until he dies. So if they're going to have Danielson get a title run at all, whether it be AEW or Ring of Honor, time's running out because they need to do it soon. So
that's what I was saying at Grand Slam. I was upset that he didn't win the title because I felt like that was the last chance, because eventually we knew MJF was waiting in the wings to get the championship. He deserves a long run. He shouldn't have a short run. He's got to get the title back to the prestige where it was prior to the Punk and the interim championship bullshit, back on Mox, off of Mox, all that stuff. He needs to have a long run, establish it back where it should be. I think the ship has sailed on Danielson ever being AEW champion. I really believe that.
It's closing in on it. I didn't want him to win the title there because I just didn't want him to be that what's it called? I'm missing the word when you have
like a footnote. Yeah, a transitional champion.
Yeah, I didn't want him to be a transitional champion. I'd rather him not be the champion than be a transitional champion. He's too good to be a transitional champion. I have too much respect for Danielson being a transitional champion. So I mean, and I don't know if he's going to get that run. I don't know.
I can completely see that.
Yeah. So, and that, like I said, that's just out of respect for him, out of respect for Danielson and how much I love him. And again, we saw that whole beginning segment tonight. Where's this Danielson and Mox thing going? I'm excited to see what's happening with that. Is the Blackpool Combat Club disbanding? We don't know yet. We don't know what's happening here. I can't wait to see what MJF has to say. What was in the email that William Regal sent to MJF? Sucks that he had to go and film the movie this week, but again, it builds anticipation. They drop a little hints to get people to turn in next week, because here's another thing: House of Black is back, baby.
Yeah,
we didn't even talk about that. Finally, I popped big time when Julia Hart popped up on my screen, and let me tell you, they booked them good tonight. They booked them strong, and by God, they better be on my TV screen again next week on Dynamite.
It's a huge test for them. I think they've shown in the past that they've made mistakes, and House of Black is another example I didn't talk about. They're a huge example of Tony Khan dropping the ball with momentum. The QT Marshall and the Factory, obviously they're not going to be involved here. Seems like Malachi is going to be going after the All Atlantic Championship, but this is just to establish their presence on the roster. But yeah, Malachi, Buddy, and Brody looked amazing. It was so good to see him back on TV. I'm a huge Brody King fan, a huge Malachi fan. I love Buddy Matthews too. Just want to see these guys be booked strong, and the presentation is just everything, man. These guys just have a presence about them. There's nothing in wrestling like them. They're just
I agree.
unique.
I'd love to see Malachi get that singles run, and there's no reason why these three guys can't be together, but all having singles matches. There's absolutely no reason. Like all
Yeah, and I
three
think
are stars in a singles on on their own. They don't need to be in a tag team. It's kind of like the Four Horsemen back in the day. They were, they were a unit, but they wrestled singles. Flair was the world champion, so I have no problem with the House of Black doing that. So happy to see them back on my screen, and I'm really glad they kind of waited for this Dynamite. Like this felt like a Dynamite after a pay-per-view tonight. I thought it was very well done from top to bottom.
yeah, one hit after the other. It felt like it flowed really well, and I think it's because you had post segments. It wasn't too much shit in the back. It felt like it had a lot of pacing to it. Going back to the House of Black thing, Brody King hitting the Dante's Inferno on the security card on the ramp capped off all the destruction. The crowd reacted appropriately as they should. In Chicago, you couldn't ask for a better reaction. So kudos to that crowd. They were on fire all goddamn night reacting. Hater got a huge reaction. You couldn't even hear the Elite's music when they came out. Like that's how loud they were booing. Perfect crowd. That's how you do it. We saw, I think it was Hartford a couple of weeks ago. That crowd was horrendous.
Yes.
The crowd takes up to another level. That there's something to be said about the atmosphere, and the tone gets set by the audience. So do a better job, Connecticut.
I have to call out our buddy here, King of Hueso Mundo. To me, the House of Black, Alistair Murphy saw the big flop on the Mr. Howdy character and decided to stay in AEW. They were never leaving AEW. Tony Khan was never letting them out of their contract. That had nothing to do with it. So don't even think that. Like, you're just putting thoughts into your head. Even if they wanted to go there, Tony Khan wasn't letting them out of their contract. He was going to make them wait out their contract. So that has nothing to do with anything. That's not why they're back now.
And would we really see? I haven't watched WWE as consistently as I was back a couple weeks ago.
Funny how
is Bray considered a flop at this point? That's not universally the opinion of everybody, right?
I mean, I honestly lost interest about the third week back of him. I'm just like,
Well, he's feuding with LA Knight, I think, right? That's what he's doing right now. Okay,
that's his first match back. It's going to be with LA Knight.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Eli Drake is awesome though. Like, I'm not saying that should be. I think there's a lot of potential to be. When I saw Eli Drake, LA Knight on NWA, roster full, Ricky Starks, Eddie Kingston, Thunder Rosa, he caught my eye with the promo. Dude,
listen,
yeah.
Triple H, just because Triple H was exposed doesn't mean Tony Khan was letting them out of their contracts. He did have interest. We know that's a fact. That doesn't mean that they were going to be able to go just because they were contacted.
More importantly, Tom, on the menu tomorrow.
Oh my gosh, not turkey. Not for me anyway.
Oh my God.
I'll have the stuffed peppers. I made stuffed peppers today. Like, I make a special bread mixture, and it's my grandmother's recipe. I took it over for her. So, and then she passed. So now I still get to make them myself. She gave me the knife to cut the peppers. So we were using that knife today. I was thinking of her as we made them. My wife made the sweet potatoes. My mom makes the stuffing. There will be a turkey there. I just don't like turkey. I like turkey in a pot pie. It's hidden in.
Oh my God. The heat on turkey is unbelievable.
I'm not are you a big turkey guy?
I love turkey. Yeah.
Really? So you can eat it plain without anything else? You don't have to disguise it?
Well, gravy. I mean, like Thanksgiving, it's the whole plate. Gravy goes on everything.
Gravy's fine. Like Hawk's like, oh yeah, I love turkey, but I have to have this, and this on it. I'm like, oh, so you don't really like turkey?
Well, I mean, I don't eat turkey a lot, but I have it during Thanksgiving, and I look forward to it. Maybe if I had it multiple times a year, I wouldn't feel the same way. But Thanksgiving, there's certain foods like stuffing, mashed potatoes. Those are things mashed potatoes I mix in throughout the year, but
I hate
stuffing is once a year, and it's amazing.
Stuffing, I love the stuffing, but I'm not a mashed potato guy. My wife loves mashed potato. My wife gets so mad at me because I'm like, I'd rather have tacos for Thanksgiving. She gets so mad when I say that. Just
That's your
because
hottest take yet, man. You went all in on the Punk stuff. This is your hottest take yet.
I don't like turkey. Turkey is not my thing. Give me the sides though, and I hate mashed potato. I'm not a potato guy. I don't really like potatoes. If I eat a French fry, it's only because I get to have the ketchup on it, or I dip it in ranch, one or the other. I can't just eat a
Wow.
French fry without dipping it in something. So that
You
means I
guys
don't
heard it
really
here
like
first.
stuff.
He's all over the place.
Do you like potatoes?
I love potato. Dude, there's not really food I don't like. I like every single type of food.
I
from
love
different-
food too, but I'm not a potato. I hate mashed potatoes. I won't eat them.
I will eat
wait. Let me
literally
rephrase
anything.
that.
I just don't
The
like
only-
cheese. I don't like cheese.
Let me rephrase it. There's one potato I do like, and it's a twice baked potato.
Oh, that's a good thing.
That's the only potato I love. I could eat a twice baked potato. So
Fair.
you got the cheese melted in it. You got the crispiness on top. That's my favorite type of potato.
Are you watching the parade tomorrow morning? Are you looking forward to it? Back in the day, we used to have the WWF guys there. It would be awesome to see AEW on the parade. Any presence of wrestling?
No, okay, I'm gonna give you another hot take. I hate parades. I'm not a parade. I'm not a parade guy. I just can't sit there and watch somebody coming on a float being all happy.
Yeah, but you don't sit and watch the whole thing. It's like stuff going on. It's on in the background type of thing. It's not like I'm sitting there.
Yeah, it'll be on, and my wife will be like, "Oh, yay, here comes Santa Claus," and I'm like, "Yay, I'm 47 years old. Just give me my gifts."
Santa's all elite, bro. Come on.
So no, I don't like parades. I went to the Yankee parade back in 1996 because they just won the World Series, and I'm like, yeah, I've done this. I never need to do this again.
I did the same thing in 09 and I'm done. I'll never do it again.
Exactly.
I couldn't get home. The subway was packed.
It's just too many people. No thank you.
Yeah. That's the city.
But it was an experience to say I did it once for the first World Series that I actually remember them winning because they had won when I was like 3 and 4 in the 70s. But the guy with the boa was standing right across from us. I'm sure you've seen that guy around, right?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Yankee lore.
Yep. So I'm not a parade guy. I mean
all right. Love CM Punk, hates turkey, hates parades. You guys heard? That's all you need to know. That's the cliff notes for tonight's wrap-up show.
But not CM Punk I'm not saying I love CM Punk the person. I like the character and what he brings to wrestling.
Same here, dude. I think there's a lot of don't get this confused. I know you were clarifying what you were saying before. I would love if Punk came back because I think that would show a maturity on his level to put his ego aside to make money. There's a huge amount of money to have CM Punk versus Kenny Omega in the ring, standing across from each other.
Yeah.
That's that transcendent story that they've been missing.
I think they're building towards it. I honestly,
I'd be shocked to go full circle.
I said it before. Like I was what I said the past few weeks. I was saying it and exaggerating it. After today, I believe it more than ever. Like I now think it's a 50-50 shot that it's true.
If it was anybody else but the Bucks and Omega, you might be onto something. But these guys the word is cheeky, but they go out of their way to thumb their nose at what people already know, the information. The fact they were in Chicago, they were chomping at the bit to act the way they did tonight. The Buckshot Larry, let's not forget, let's emphasize that happened, guys. If you missed Dynamite, it was in picture, which was bummed me out big time. So Matt Jackson did the Buckshot Lariat and stumbled, completely taking a shot. Also, the other thing, when he went for the Terminator dive, Kenny Omega, pronouns pal, he was doing the beat to the crowd where usually it's like 1, 2, 3. It was to Mazira Kantar by AFI, his Ring of Honor theme. Bump, bump, ba bump. Bump, 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 ba bump.
So that was shots fired
in the crowd. There was like 5 or 6 Punk references in that.
I love it. I love I love when WWE and AEW take shots at each other. Like this is the shit I'm here for. And I'll tell you, I hate the Young Bucks. I hate them as people. I think they're pricks as well.
Wow, that's a hot take too.
It's not. A lot of people hate the Bucks. That's not.
They're good Christian boys.
Mike Belcaster hates the Bucks as well. So
because he's a Punk dude. He's from Chicago.
So fuck the Bucks.
I love the Bucks. I love Kenny Omega. What they did for wrestling.
I'm not shitting on what they do in the ring though. Don't be mistaken.
I wouldn't be a wrestling fan if it wasn't for them. I would have stopped watching wrestling a long time ago.
I do enjoy what they do in the ring, but fuck the Bucks. So
I owe my wrestling fandom at 30-something years old because the Bucks brought me back and Kenny Omega brought me back.
There's a reason
watching.
There's a reason why people say all friends wrestling.
Yeah, that's not such a bad thing. We show what happens when they're not at the helm. I mean, when CM Punk was in there and injected his negativity, Things
we
were
see
at its
what- we
all-time
see
best
what
when
happens
it was
they're
Kenny
not at
Omega
the
as
helm.
champion.
We see what happens when they're not at the helm from All Out until Full Gear, and the show's better than it's been forever.
Would you say it was better than when Kenny Omega was champion with Don Callis at his side?
Oh, no,
Nothing's
that's the best run of AEW. No.
and that's when the Bucks and the Elite were completely at not only at the elite of leadership, but on TV every single week, even when Anderson and Gallows were there.
Here's another thing, Tyson. The Young Bucks have like pissed all over the super kick and made it useless.
It's not just them though.
No, it's not just them.
Everybody does it.
Super Kicks party. Blah.
It's what the DDT became after Jake made it this huge finisher, and then everybody in the 90s and the 2000s used the DDT like it was just
funny. You should say that, dude. You need to go listen to the Turnbuckle debate on Monday. It's funny you should say that.
All right, cool. So
cool.
let's do some chill and talk about the debate. What's coming up on Sunday night and what's going on Fig Night?
We have Joe Shoes from the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast. He has his own podcast, a pop culture podcast. Joe, I forgot the name of it now. He has his own podcast. It's awesome. It'll be plugged on the thing. We had a great debate today. 3 great topics. He brought it. He's an indie wrestler. Just came back, started wrestling again. It was a really, really fun debate. We're gonna get more Joe Shoes on a podcast. Tune in Sunday night if you want to watch it, or watch it or listen Monday morning when it drops as a podcast. You won't be disappointed. I feel like the debate shows just somehow keeps getting better.
Yeah,
like we've really and it doesn't even matter like whoever's there. Like the weeks I'm not there, the debate show just friggin' works. Like our guests are great. We have our recurring people filling in for me if I don't make it. Like bravo to like Sneed runs such a good ship. He does such a good job. Chad's takes, like you go into a debate with Chad and it's like he mind fucks you by the time you're done because you go in believing something and then he spills his genius and it's like, oh, like so many times I'll go in believing something and Chad just has such takes and the way he explains them. Like if you guys haven't watched or listened to the debate show, it's the best show you're not listening to. It's so good. So definitely check out the debate show. This week, Fig Night. What did we do on Fig Night? Oh, it was me and Nick Storm. It was fun. And we have Fig Night coming up this Tuesday. I don't know. We might have a guest coming on. I'm working on finalizing a guest. So stay tuned to our social media. And if we do have the guest, we'll announce it there as soon as we do. So it's been a fun weekend. And this week we did sessions. I did sessions with young Anthony that dropped this morning. We recapped our visit to Full Gear to Newark. And it was a fun episode if you guys haven't checked that out. So
awesome.
What do you got coming up this week, Mr. Ace?
So Friday we had Shot Nostalgia Season 2, Episode 2. We talked about Return of the Funker 1995. We finished recording that. And let me tell you, it is a great episode. There's a lot of good information coming down the pike from the newsletter, from ECW, and also a lot of breaking news. I'm going to break some news about potential new content for ECW Shot Nostalgia, in-person interviews with some people that were there. So I'll just leave it there.
Oh, that's cool.
Build some connections the last few weeks. As you guys are checking my Instagram out, I was at the training seminar. I was lucky enough to be involved in the training seminar with Juventud Guerrera at NYWC and Remarkable Wrestling. So Juvi was there for about 6 hours in the ring with some of the talent, the best talent in the Northeast, just showing. And you guys can check out the reel I posted. And I'm sure he's going to post a YouTube video because he was like filming the whole time. Such a nice guy, a legend in the ring, an absolute monster. To just be in the presence of him and hear him talk and tell stories about Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio and working WCW and just the simplicity of the fundamentals that get, I guess, forgotten when we watch wrestling. And for a lot of the indie wrestlers, just going back to fundamentals like locking up correctly or locking and making, the appropriate facial expressions when you want people to believe a certain thing. It was just very interesting to hear him talk. And I was lucky enough to be there. Coming up in the future, December 16th, I'll be announcing for Remarkable Wrestling for How Soon Is Now, main evented by Gabriel Sky and Juventud Guerrera. That'll be in Queens, New York. So if you're in the area, please come out and check it out. Give us their support. If you have any children, every child 13 and under will get a free in-package wrestling figure at the venue. So Santa Claus will be handing them out. And then December 17th, I'll be at NYWC Tour de Circus with the Turnbuckle Tavern banner. As you guys can see behind me, that'll be hanging at Tour de Circus. I'll be giving out stickers, giving out keychains. I need a whole bunch of new stuff because I was at VPW last weekend and I'm all out now. So it's time to make new keychains, new stickers, and give you guys some more new stuff, and probably something a little bit different. So if you've gotten some of the stuff from me when you saw me at Victory Pro Wrestling, you're going to want some of the stuff I have. So come out and support Tour de Circus. They announced one match so far. It's going to be Michael Mastretta, the world champion, defending his championship against Jaden Vallow. So if you have never seen these guys wrestle, you're in for a treat. That's December 17th. And, you know, I'm all over the place. Victory Pro is coming back in February. I'll be at the Future Remarkable shows. You know, stay tuned to my my Instagram and check it out. I'm going to be more and more involved in person doing stuff. So again, going to give that hint for the ECW Shot of Nostalgia. There's a lot of personalities that came through this area, a lot of connections of people that I've been talking to that could potentially have guys and have access to it. As I guys mentioned at the NYWC Sportatorium, that's the original ECW ring that Jerry Lynn, RVD, all those guys wrestled in. Apparently, don't quote me, this is what Joey Conway from Visit the Tavern told me. It's the same ring that Bam Bam went through, allegedly. I don't know if that's true. I'm going to quote him. He knows his history. And also that entranceway, the brick entranceway, Mikey Whipwreck donated to NYWC Sportatorium. So that's the original entranceway that they use in ECW. So perfect backdrop from ECW interviews. And again, stay tuned. It's been a really, really exciting time. And thank you guys for your support. I mean, it's been amazing the last few weeks, and going to settle down for a little bit, get ready for the holidays, and enjoy Thanksgiving with the family. My brother's coming in from North Carolina, so I'm really excited to see him. My two nieces I haven't seen. So I'm very, very excited to spend some time with family in the upcoming days. So it's going to be awesome.
Two quick questions for you that I forgot to mention. Well, one question and one a little bit of a news I just found out.
Yeah.
When Renee Paquette came out before the women's three-way tag title match, and she's like, I have a big announcement. For 1 second, did you think, oh no, she's announcing women's tag team championships?
I did not. I was so focused on her suit. It looked like she was being drafted in the NBA in 2001. Her suit was enormous.
I love Renee, but I was wearing Renee. And I'm like, oh, she's
now
like,
drafted by the Seattle Supersonics.
I was like,
Sean Kemp.
I'm like, oh no, she's going to announce women's tag team champions. Oh no, they're just taking the title off the Rosa Green. And my other thing is they announced a main event for Final Battle. Obviously, I think you could guess what it is.
So main event of Final Battle?
Yeah.
Chris Jericho?
Yeah. Don't look. Don't look.
I'm not. My cat is like knocking into the wall over here. I don't know if you heard the banging.
No.
He wants a part of it. He's like, oh, you guys usually go an hour. So Chris Jericho will be wrestling Bryan Danielson again?
No. How did Dynamite end tonight?
Chris Jericho beating Ishii.
And then
oh yeah, Claudio attacked him at the top of the ramp.
And a stipulation is if Jericho wins, Claudio has to join JAS.
Wow. So Jericho's going to win and Claudio has to join. That's a very interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
Give Claudio some personality.
I love it. Yeah. It's so cool. Freak wondering, I have not seen the documentary yet on Teddy Hart, but I've heard many people saying the guy's a little out there. So
where is that on? Peacock?
I think it is Peacock. Teddy is one of the best wrestlers that just didn't care about his talent. He was a young talent that really supposedly had a bright future ahead of him.
Oh, dude was unbelievable. Ring of Honor. Unbelievable.
Yeah. So
can we talk Claudio, please?
Claudio, excuse me. Pardon.
So,
the best drop on the tavern. Hands down.
So yeah, so now we know the main event for Final Battle coming up on December 10th, I believe it was. I'll be checking that out.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good event. Ring of Honor is yet to disappoint as far as pay-per-view goes with Tony Khan era.
A couple of pay-per-views Tony Khan's put on for Ring of Honor. Every match has been a banger. Every match.
Yeah.
That women's match last time, Serena Deeb against was it Mercedes Martinez? Oh yes, smokes. That was another great match. So I'm looking forward to see what the rest of the card is. I'm pretty sure we're going to see the Briscoes again because they are under contract to Ring of Honor exclusively. So to see who
the other thing I thought about, dude, I was complaining for a while that they should get the TV title off of Joe.
Yeah.
But they're probably waiting till Final Battle because he's all over shit with it. He's on the poster. So they probably have to wait to get it off him. So wouldn't shock me if he loses the TV title at Final Battle. Just get the hell off of him.
Makes
and then
sense.
moving forward.
Makes sense. But again, another good thing to point out, Jamie Hayter wins the title at Full Gear. She appeared on TV tonight. Like so many times we see people win titles and then disappear. We got Orange Cassidy on again tonight. We did not get Joe, but that's okay because he'll probably be on next week. Big Freak, stop. I don't want that figure. It looks amazing, but I don't need a Logan Paul
It
figure.
looks so good. That face scan looks great.
The figure looks amazing.
What's the beef with Logan Paul? Dude, the dude impressed. His 3 matches, he was better than any newcomer I think I've ever seen.
Shitting on his talent because he's amazing. I just don't like the dude. I don't care about the dude, so I don't need his figure. That's all.
Fair enough.
Like the guy far surpassed anything I thought he would do. So
unbelievable. Like the first match was good.
Amazing.
Second match, the third match was great. Like what the where'd that performance come from? Unreal.
I agree. It's amazing. I just don't care about the guy, so I just don't need his figure. I didn't buy a Rob Gronkowski figure, and this one's killing me because I own every Ultimate Edition up until this point.
The difference is though, Rob Gronkowski wasn't going to win the WWE Championship. There's a chance down the road, realistically, that Logan Paul wins the championship. That's not far fetched. I think in the next, if he goes full time, there's no reason why he shouldn't be champion.
If he went full time, yes, okay. If he decides to go full time, I have zero problems with that. So
I mean, he earned. I mean, especially working with that injury too. Like that happened after the table spot.
Yeah,
which was one of the more unique things ever too. By the way, that I don't know how much. Again, I'm not in that WWE bubble, so I'm not really listening to a lot of that stuff. But that spot where he did the frog splash with the selfie thing out, that is like the coolest content ever. Like, how cool is that?
That's pretty crazy. So
that's like when The Rock got rock bottomed while The Rock Austin got rock bottomed while holding the camera at WrestleMania 15, or it was vice versa. He got stunned by holding the camera.
Yeah.
Cool shit.
Well, guys, it's Thanksgiving tomorrow, so we just want to say thank you all for being here and supporting us. For all of our supporters, not just those of the wrap-up show, but anything you watch here at the Tavern or at the Pod Foundation. We really are thankful that you take time out of your day to come and spend it with us, to watch us or listen to us, whether it's on your ride home, wherever you're doing it. We love you all. We appreciate you all. And we hope you have an absolutely amazing Thanksgiving tomorrow. I hope you have a super awesome Thanksgiving tomorrow too, Ace. Enjoy your turkey.
Same to you and the family, man. I'm filled with gratitude to be a part of this as I'm approaching my 1-year mark here at the Turnbuckle Tavern. I just feel so lucky to have you guys all come into my life. I have these relationships I didn't have. I was just talking with Mike about this just a couple of weeks ago. Like, he was a complete stranger to me last year, and he's someone I talk to multiple times a week. And it just shows how small the world can be when you allow it to be, and you can connect yourself in so many ways. In wrestling, for all the disagreements we have, Tom and I got passionate. We got so passionate to the point where Nick Storm left. And
yeah, but we're just debating. It's not like,
of course, but you and I have the ability to do that and not have hard feelings about it.
Yeah,
but that's also like, we all have the passion of pro wrestling. It just it unites all of us, and that's such a beautiful thing, that this thing that we all watch and we're passionate about watching for the amount of time we have brings us together. And we can talk here. We're on here for about an hour and a half, and we do this multiple times a week, and it's endless content that we all enjoy doing. This is just a beautiful thing.
And our debates, guys, they're just fun debates. It's nothing personal at all. It's just our opinions. Like, I love being able to debate with people that don't get offensive because you don't agree with their takes.
100%, dude. That's why I love going back, and that's why I give you the full heat, because I know you can handle it, and I can handle the same from you.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's fun. It's just our opinion on wrestling. It's not personal. Me and Ace get along. We've hung out in Chicago. We hung out here at Grand Slam, and we're gonna be doing more hanging out. So, like,
let's fucking go.
There he is, Ace supporting CM Punk there, showing him.
I don't not support Punk. Let's be honest.
I know.
Just be clear. I want the motherfucker back. I do.
We want the dickhead back. So, all right, guys. Again, have a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your turkey. Until next week. For Ace, it's Tom. What's the cat's name?
Don.
For Don Mattingly. Don Cattingly.
Don Cal.
Have a great Thanksgiving, guys. Love, peace, and pro wrestling.
Gobble, gobble.